Monday. Here we are live once again with our Women Leaders Moving Forward Together series. I am Adina O'Neill. I'm the founder and head coach at Team Be Real, where we build belief, belonging, and confidence in all athletes. And today we are a little different time. They're all special. If you've been following along, you know that I've invited a bunch of different people to come and join me. And here we go. It's always a little bit like Russian roulette. Who's going to press the button first? How are we going to get on there? Hello, Amy.
Hello. Let me readjust my life here. There we
Yes.
go.
Yeah, so I
Wonderful.
have to adjust from the Zoom screen to the Instagram screen and make everybody look good. It's all good.
Yeah,
We are here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to chat with me.
I appreciate this invitation so much. I love what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have been really enjoying the conversations. I tried to reach out to a variety of different people
Mhm.
who have been influential in my journey and to share different views. Of course, everybody has their own unique thoughts. And it's been just such a treat to have people from different areas sharing their views and sharing their thoughts, what inspires them, and little tidbits of education as we celebrate Women's History Month.
Yeah.
So I was just about to give a brief introduction. Amy and I met through the Yacht Club,
Mhm.
and the work that we were doing with Nicole Walters. Shout out to Nicole. And I actually hired Amy to be my nutrition therapist for an amount of time as I was embarking upon my nutrition journey, and so had an opportunity to know each other kind of as peers, and
Mhm.
then also to get to know her a little bit more specifically to help me along in my own journey. But Amy, I'd like you to introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thank you for that nice trip down memory lane. And before I do, I just want to say also, I also had a wonderful opportunity speaking to your group, which I loved. I have to shout out your group because I so loved having that conversation. Now you have such a wonderful group of people that you have in your community space. It's wonderful. But yeah, as Dina said, my name is Amy Porto, and I work as my 9 to 5 life as a university professor, and I'm a registered dietitian. But kind of our connection through the business and entrepreneurial space is really, my focus is helping midlife women, and oftentimes folks who have been lifelong dieters really look at how are we eating better, kind of stop shaming our bodies in a lot of ways, and making healthy food decisions that are really based on facts and not fads, because there's so much just misinformation and things that we can get really wrapped up in that don't really serve us at all, when a lot of times, we can kind of learn some of those internal things. So in that way, I'm working with people one-on-one and in a variety of other capacities.
Yeah, I tell you that my favorite thing, if you do not know Amy, is you have to follow along for when she goes on her little rants about, I saw this in the supermarket. And, my absolute favorite one is when we're talking about clean eating, like it's only dirty if you drop it on the floor.
Yes.
I
Yes, like what does that even mean? Right.
That's my favorite one. I share that
Yeah.
all the time. So I hope that wasn't the big takeaway, the big fact that you're going to share
No,
with us at the end. Well,
I
but
got lots.
that's my favorite one, and I repeat it to everybody because it's just so tangible of a thought. So,
Yeah.
but we are here to talk about Women's History Month, and I like to start off the conversation just by reminding everyone what the topic is. Each year they kind of pick I don't know who the they is, to be quite honest.
They.
Somebody picked the theme, and I obviously did not research that part well enough, but there is a theme, and it really drew me in and resonated with me, which is why I orchestrated all these conversations. And the theme this month is moving forward together, women educating and inspiring generations. What does that mean to you when you hear it? That's a heavy one, right? But what does that mean to you when you hear
There's
it, Amy?
so many words in there that stand out to you that it's like if you pick each of them, you're just going to say the theme again, right? Because there's so many. But I think to be fair, maybe to my introduction, and the thing that stood out to me the most hearing that was the educating piece, because that is the hat that I wear in my day to day job, but it's also the hat that I wear as I'm working with clients and here, on social media is a big part of, and for women, and truly allowing us to move forward together when we are empowered with information that can really help us to make decisions. And so, and how that in the space that I'm in nutrition impacts generations. So many of the clients that I work with, many of the things, if I hear from one person, I hear from all of something related to their past growing up eating, or some, just not to blame everything on your mother, but there are things like how many people went to a Weight Watchers meeting with their mother. Like, it is a generational impact as you are learning more about yourself and how you're going to pass that on. And that really is, at least in my space, in like the diet culture space, is a thing to work together as women, that we have to come together with that to be able to really move forward.
I agree. Well, and it's interesting that you said, "Oh, blame it on our mothers." Well, and it's not their fault,
Right.
right? Because
Yes.
they learned it. If we think about that education piece, they learned it from the
Correct.
generation before them, who learned it from the generation
Yes.
before them. So if each generation gets a little smarter
Yes.
and some better education along the way, which I taught second grade for 10 years, and so that was my draw to education, to think about, well, how can we teach these second graders in a way that was different that I learned when I was in second grade. And
Mm-hmm.
every generation, hopefully, is going to get a little smarter, and we're going to move a little more forward together.
Exactly. Yes.
So yeah, I'm so glad that you focused in on that education piece. Not
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly, as
Right.
you said, that is your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But that's, as a coach, that's something that is very important to me as well. There are a lot of coaches who just write training plans, but sometimes I educate my athletes too well. They're like, okay, bye, coach, I don't need you
Right.
anymore. And it's like, okay, that's really maybe not great for my business bottom line, but
But isn't
I
that the
know that
goal?
I feel good that
Yeah.
they understand. I can't do it any
Right.
other way. So, well, so, speaking of moms and women in other generations, so we're learning from them. Who's an inspiring woman that in your life that maybe has educated you? It doesn't have to be a prior generation, could be current,
Yeah.
of course.
I really thought about this question, and I'll admit that I kind of struggle with it to narrow it down because there are so many. So I'm going to generically opt into a category rather than a person, because I was like, but I can't, but then I won't say, but then I can't. So I'm finding now, I turned 50 in this past December, and I'm really seeing this decade of life and women who have come into this decade of life in such a, like, for lack of a better word, like just badass way, where it's so different than what I experienced when I would see other women turning 50. And there's something pivotal about that age that I just see, whether it is how they are challenging their bodies in different ways, of like doing things related to strength or fitness, or just being like, I am wearing the thing, and this is what it is. That kind of thing has just been seeing, and maybe those women have always been there, but I wasn't part of the group, so I didn't see it. But now that I'm part of the group, I'm like, yes. Like, it is really inspiring to see how those things have shifted. And so that, women just in that category who are doing the thing,
I,
and they are really real in what they're doing, have
yeah.
really just inspired me.
And I think there is a shift, and as we said, each generation is getting a little more
Yeah.
confident, getting more empowered, and there's such a huge movement right now in that midlife space about educating around the
Mm-hmm.
menopause transition and what
Yeah.
that means. And I think that education, I'm 52, so I'm in
Mhm.
that group as well, but I think that education is empowering us and inspiring us to be even more badass.
Yes.
And
Yes.
maybe those before us didn't have the permission to do so, but now that we've gotten that education and we have that feeling of empowerment, that we're bringing it. We're like,
Yeah.
we've got it and we're there.
there
So,
there was a moment for me, just of all things, like watching the Super Bowl halftime show a couple years ago when Jennifer Lopez climbed up on a pole and did this whole routine at 50 years old, and I was like, ma'am, okay. Now lots of people have lots of opinions about that, but I know what my opinion was, and I was just like, yes, like that's wonderful. Like go do
yeah,
that's amazing. And I was like, I was there for it. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's think about what it means to be a woman. We're celebrating Women's History Month, and this question that we've had a lot of interesting discussions around because, I'm curious how being a woman helps you in your space make an impact. Does it? Or does it? There's actually kind of the question has evolved a little bit over the different conversations. Is it important that being a woman does help you make a different impact? Does it position you in a different way to kind of help serve your clients in any
Mm.
way?
I can see why you've had many conversations about this in different directions. It's a big question, um, and I think I need to answer it in the different hats that I wear as a dietitian in that area, and as a nutrition professional professor is the word I'm trying to say on a Monday evening. It actually, in some ways, doesn't serve well.
Hmm.
The dietetics profession is predominantly a profession of white women. And so we don't have the diversity in our profession to serve a lot of different populations of people, to be able to make those connections, to recognize what populations need, whether that's just across different backgrounds, whether that's having more men in the it just so I am truly in like the 94% of what my profession looks like.
Yeah.
And that's problematic.
Yep.
I think that's problematic, and that's a big conversation of all the barriers to entry into the profession.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, in the client work that I do, I definitely think it's it's a lens in which I think we are just connected as women,
Mhm.
because we are so marketed to that however you are showing up at any stage of your life is not right for some reason.
Yep.
Your hair's too straight, it's too curly, your face is this, the color is this, the body shape is like, everything is just wrong so that we can sell something.
Mhm.
And that is just a collective experience that we have. And so in the areas that I'm involved with in terms of body image and nutrition and the types of things that you have, that connection to saying, okay, let's look at this. Why is this product out there? Why is this something that you want to spend your money on? Could it be beneficial to you? Or is this playing on the fact that you are a woman getting a hot flash and your body's changing in midlife? And so you are such a target for that pain point.
Yeah.
So having that connection with someone, I think in that way, is unique, because we can connect in that way. Yeah.
I would agree, and even the most empathetic of men, of which there are
Yes.
many. I'm very fortunate to have some very empathetic men in my life. They until they walk in the shoes of a woman, they cannot completely understand. Just as no one can completely understand what I'm walking through. My
Right.
differences, my experience
Yes.
is unique to me. But as you start to peel away at the onion, so to speak,
Yes.
a man cannot understand that systemic attacking
Yeah.
of women. Yeah, I could see that. But really interesting point about most of the dietitians
Yeah.
being white women.
Yes.
And so, hopefully, although I would have to think that even though most of you are white women, the men are not being forgotten. I mean, the research is still all done on men, right? Or not,
Correct.
not
Well, I mean, it's
all.
better, but
Yeah,
many of the recommendations that we have are based on research that was done on exclusively white men.
right.
So that's a problem.
Yep.
So it, again, you're working to make changes, but it also speaks a lot to what our dietary recommendations are based on. We're looking at who are the people that are eating these foods that you are recommending and who's being left out of that conversation.
Right.
So those are important things that the profession needs to wrestle
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, because there definitely are different things that we need to pay attention to based on different cultures.
Yeah,
I've heard you talk before about the just the different traditions of food that come from each
right.
culture. So
Yeah.
that's a different story.
Yeah. There's a lot to
Yeah,
unpack.
yeah, that's boy, we could have a whole nother conversation about that.
Yes,
Maybe we'll put a pin in it and come back. We'll see. I've been having so much fun. Maybe we're going to do some more.
I would love
Um,
that.
oh, awesome. Well, I've been trying to keep the conversation somewhat short so that they're digestible.
I love a
Uh,
fun Thanksgiving.
and so, imagine that we have a minute or so left. What is one teachable moment that you would leave us with that we, a quick win to just say, all right, I learned something today and I'm going to carry this along with me?
I wouldn't be me if I didn't say carbs are your friends, not your foes. But but that
My
was it.
favorite.
I know. I think we talked about that in your book. But more seriously, I think that the teachable piece really feels very Wizard of Oz to me, in that you really do have the power and the knowledge to fuel your body. It's gaining some of the confidence outside of what we've been told. And knowing that you can like reconnect to being hungry and being full and like cutting out some of the noise that surrounds that, because the biggest relationship and the most important one that you're ever going to have is with yourself. And so much of what we do is externally give that power away. I need to follow this diet plan that tells me to eat meal one, meal two, meal three, versus like, do I even like cottage cheese? No. Why? Those kind of things that like you actually really do have a lot of that. It's scary to listen to your own wisdom when it's been taken away from you for so long. And so I think that reconnection is just such a journey that is life changing when you're making it.
I can definitely confirm that that is true. I mean, I started that journey with the sessions I was taking with you,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily there are some through my insurance. I actually found a nutrition therapist that it was
Yes.
covered,
Yes, that's
which
amazing.
which is a great thing as well for people who are struggling with that.
Yeah.
And I mean, started working here. This was a couple of years ago. So this is not it's not a 5-minute journey.
Right. Right.
And it's a huge reset.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm almost at the point that I've kind of hit that reset button, and have been formulating some things to kind of share out that journey because I didn't quite understand it
Yeah.
up until now. We might be we're almost ready to start. I think I've understood something,
Yeah.
but it is within you. I love that. It definitely it was within me all the
Mhm.
time. I'm clicking my little
Right.
sparkly shoes together, but it's hard. It's really hard.
It is hard because so much has been shared for you to not trust yourself. And this is why you need to follow XYZ plan, drink this shake, have this supplement, because you couldn't possibly figure it out, because look at how your body shows up in the world, which we have defined as wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's that whole piece, and there's so much there. And it's really, to get back to the overall theme, it's really an empowering thing when you have that education and how you can move forward with it for yourself, and then how you pass that on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing that, for sharing all of your expertise. Please go follow. It's Dr. Amy Porto. And I almost forgot that you contributed to my book, so I'm so glad you mentioned
Yes,
that as well.
I
I was
loved
like,
your book. I was so excited. And I know that I did. And then when I read it, I was like, hey, there I am. I was just like into the book, reading the book,
yes,
forgetting. But what a wonderful thing you've done. You should be so proud of that. It's just really awesome.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. Well, we could sit here and chit chat all
No,
night,
no.
but I will give you a thank you, give you a chance to let everybody know how to follow you and where to find
Yeah.
you.
So I like playing most here on Instagram. So, following me here at Dr. Amy Porto. And I love a DM. I love a voice memo. So, like, it's not weird to me at all to get like a random voice memo from someone who I've never met. So I appreciate that, those conversations, but also on my website, which is just my name, amyporto.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Amy. Always a pleasure. Always a chance to expand our knowledge on nutrition and living healthy. And we'll see each other again soon, I'm sure. And
Absolutely.
I will leave everybody with be well, be real, and keep moving forward. Have a good one.